Hello YouTubers, today I have a very interesting comparison for you. So I've got the Audiolab 8300A versus the Audiolab 6000A, and stick around to know which one I prefer and which one you should buy. I think it will depend a little bit on your circumstances, as always. But a little bit of background. Ever since I brought my Monitor Audio RX1 silver RX1 speakers from downstairs upstairs for near field usage, I've been kind of looking for an amp. So I had this, which I got together with the Monitor Audio silver RX1 speakers back in 2011 or 2012, around there, a long time ago. I got them all together. And this is the Marantz CR502, and it sounds good. I lived with it for a long time. It did the job. Sounds perfectly all right. However, as I was using like a near field and stuff, I was like, reading online, and for some reason I wanted to get an amplifier just to see if the Marantz was still cutting it. It's an old device. The remote doesn't really work anymore and things like that. So I was like, okay, I'm ready to, upgrade. So I started checking some reviews online, and the 6000A, the Audiolab 6000A, kept coming up as such a good value and really mature and good amp. So I went ahead and got it. And, first thing that I noticed when I connected it is just how much, compared to the Marantz CR502, just how much more mature the sound was, like how much more controlled the sound was, and smooth and open. Really a big step up. So from that moment on, I was like, okay, this is an amp, right? I tried some Forzi audio amps as well, but I wasn't sold on them. I've tried the Fozio, I've got the videos, the Mono V3. Check my videos on those. I think one of the videos actually became really popular. Fozzy is a really interesting one because they're really small, but I wasn't really too impressed with them when I started comparing them with the 6000A. So the 6000A stayed. It started beating everything that I was trying it against. So I went ahead and got the 8300A, a little bit more expensive and not quite so many features, but a little bit more powerful and a little bit more premium and a little bit more audio focused, to compare and see if there was really a big jump in sound quality or not. As I'm using the Aun S17 as a preamp, I don't really need the inputs on here because I can use the Aun to feed the signal onto here, onto the 8300A. So a bit of background, like Audiolab's a company that's been around for a little while, since the 1980s, and their motto was always to, or what led them to start as a group of guys, a couple of guys, a group of people, I don't know exactly. But their motto was to create really good audio equipment at an affordable price, because they were fed up with like the markup on audio equipment and stuff, and so they went ahead and created the Audiolab. And they also created this amplifier called 8000A, which has become a bit of a legend. It's like an all-time kind of a legend of the amplifier world. And this, in particular, this 8300A is in that lineage. But the whole kind of a design language of these amplifiers is follows from that initial kind of like design language. So we got like the very kind of a short body here and very wide, like that's kind of the Audiolab kind of signature profile. I'm not sure if it's wider than other amplifiers out there, actually. That just the thought came to my mind. So, but yeah, so a little bit of background on the Audiolab, and I really like that idea of creating like good audio equipment that is not doesn't break the bank. I like that. I respect that. So I have a soft spot for Audiolab because of that as well. Construction wise, they are both very, very well constructed, but the 8300A is a step up. It's slightly different construction, the way that the panels go together. I don't know if you can tell on the camera there, you probably can't, but the aluminium shade is different between these two. So this one is a little bit lighter, it reminds you of a MacBook Pro. This is more like, I would call it space gray, but it's a shade darker. And the way that the panels go together is slightly different. So, you know, at the front, the layout's the same. So you got like the select the input, you got the mode, preamp, and so on and so forth, and that's the same for both. And then you got the volume knob here. The 6000A, you do have an amplifier for your headphones, and it's actually a fairly good amplifier. It's got the current feedback. Really enjoyed listening to music through this on my headphones. I was really impressed with this. Actually, it was because I was so impressed with this that I found out that I had a bad RCA cable that was totally destroying my Awun S17 sound. So that was fortuitous. So, but this one doesn't have anything because the 8300A is a pure amplifier. There's no digital inputs, there's no headphone amplifiers, there's no anything like that. It's just a pure amplifier. And I say it's a pure amplifier, not a pure amplifier in the sense that it's just an amplifier. It also has a preamp section, so you can use this as a preamp for a power amplifier. So, but in terms of digital inputs and stuff, you will not get any of that stuff here. So, let me see if we can turn this. As you can see here from the side, the 8300 has got a lot more bolts in here. So it's got some plates that go all the way. It's hard to describe, but the construction is slightly different and more premium on the 8300A compared to the 6000A, as you can see here. And the materials are slightly different as well. They're aluminium, but I don't think it's the same grade aluminium. Going to the back here, we start noticing some differences here. So, where on the 6000A you got like digital inputs, optical, coaxial, and your Bluetooth antenna here. On the 8300A you don't have that. But you do have something that I really liked, which is the XLR inputs. Because with the Awun S17 as a preamp, there's XLR outputs, so I was really keen on having XLR inputs just to be able to use those XLR cables. You also got like a lot more outputs for your speakers. You can use this be wired or bi-wired, which is something they cannot do with the 6000A. In terms of all of this is pretty similar. Auxiliary. Yeah, this one has got like inputs for like tuner, CD, phono, so on and so forth. You know, this thing here, you can use this as a preamp for in a stack system as well, and I think that's what they talk about. One main difference between these two, in terms of the design, internal design, is that the 8300A is a dual mono amplifier. So essentially you have two separate amplifiers inside, and the signal is not shared. So we got both channels different amplified by different circuitry. So I thought that was really cool, because you know, even when I tested the fuzzy mono, you know, you want to have the two separates, and you can go like by massive kind of a mono blocks. Actually, there's the 8300 MB, which is a full size kind of a mono block, and you need two of those to drive the speaker. So having a mono design, a dual mono design built in, was something that really appealed to me. So that's for what it's worth. But just bear in mind that the 8300A is an amplifier with the preamp, and you won't get any digital inputs in case you need those, and certainly not going to get Bluetooth with it. So going back to the front here, I'm going to show you the front. They look pretty much identical, but the screen on the 8300 is a step up, much more clear, much more visible, much more resolution. The one on the 6000A is pretty basic. It does the job, although you struggle to see a little bit if it's there's the sun, too much sun coming in. So in terms of sound, so I've already told you that the jump from the Marantz CR502, the jump from the Marantz CR502 to this Audiolab 6000A was really noticeable. Right, so really much more mature. I fell in love with the Audiolab sound signature, to be fair. So I said to myself, look, I don't need any of the inputs, I don't really need the headphone amp, I don't need any of that stuff. So one of the things that appealed to me about the 8300A is that it's the direct lineage of the 8000A, that legendary amplifier. Also, the dual mono architecture was something that really appealed to me, and because I didn't need any of the other stuff, digital inputs and so on and so forth, I figured that more money went onto the audio components that actually make a difference to the sound. And boy oh boy, what a difference it makes. Like the 6000A, there's nothing wrong with it, it's nice, it sounds really good. I mean, as I say, compared to the Marantz, it's just a big step up. But when you go to the 8300A, it's like it's a step up, a significant step up, especially in the low frequencies. The low frequencies on the 8300A are like so much tighter and so much more resolving. This amp has an ability to control the speakers in a way that the 6000A just can't do. It doesn't mean to say that the 6000A is bad, but once you get to the 8300A, you get more tighter punch bass, you got more clarity, you got more nuances in the sound. You can feel that the speakers are being controlled a lot more effectively than with the 6000A. So I fell in love with the sound of the 8300A, and it's a great amplifier. I'm really happy with it. So if you can afford to pay a little bit extra, and if you can afford not to have the features that the 6000A brings, then by all means just go ahead and get the 8300A, because the sound signature is similar. So you get that Audiolab sound, which is like full and present and this wide and smooth. Like it's just like there's a grandeur to the sound that these Audiolab amplifiers throw, and you get that on both of these. So you can recognize the DNA is there, but the Audiolab 8300 is like a league above the 6000A. It just is. It has a lot more command over the speakers. Like the thing that I've been actually noticing is like with the speakers, is that how important the amplifier is. Like sometimes you think, oh, I'm going to get better speakers, and I could have thought that, and I actually tried the KEF LS50s, which I didn't like as much as the good old Monitor Audio RX1 review coming. And I thought like I had to upgrade the speakers to upgrade the sound, but no, I didn't. So when I got the 6000A, the speakers went up with it. They kind of scaled up. With the 8300A, they scaled up yet again. So the speakers had a lot more potential in them. So if you already have nice speakers, right? I'm not talking about like $3,000 speakers or whatever. This is like a medium line speaker. It's the silver line of the Monitor Audio, and these are like 13 years old. Yeah, that's my experience, guys. You might feel tempted to go and buy some speakers, but I would say look at the amp because if you have a nice amp and decent speakers, you will get a lot more out of those speakers for sure. That's certainly my experience with the Monitor Audio RX ones. Those speakers are amazing. I never thought that could be so good. The bass is so tight, and the highs so smooth and open and spacious. As I say, I compared them to the KEF LS50 Meta, and I have the video coming out soon. So that's my 2 cents. So if you need the digital inputs and everything, and it's cheaper, and you can't quite stretch to the 8300A, just go with the 6000A. You'll be okay. But if you really want to step up a notch and have that tighter bass and that like extra clarity in the highs and that kind of like juicy, meaty mids that the Audiolab is able to do, then by all means go to the 8300A. If you don't need the additional digital features, you can always get like a streamer to attach to it, or like the Wim Plus Pro, or you could, if you really can afford it, just buy the Audiolab CD player, which got digital inputs and stuff like that. But in terms sonically speaking, the 8300A is far superior to the 6000A. There's one thing I actually prefer on the 6000A, and that's the power button. The 8300A, for some reason, I don't know why they did it like this, but it feels a little bit softer than this one. This one feels a little bit better than this, but hey, they thought it was better. And of course, also the name is like printed here, and here is engraved on the 8300. So all in all, really, really good amplifiers. I'm really impressed with the 8300A. I was so impressed with it that because I don't need any of the preamp features or anything like that, so I got the 8300AX, 8300XP, which is similar philosophy but much chunkier, and you don't have any of this stuff. Like it's just on, off, that's it. It's a pure amp. No preamps, no anything like that. That's it. Signal in, signal out amp, which works for me. It's quite bulky. It's on my desk there. The review will come, because I was so in love with the Audiolab sound, and I was thinking, okay, it's the same price. I don't need it. It's a lot more power. And if there's one thing I'm learning about amplifiers, that more power is good, because even at lower volumes, because there's a lot more spare juice to sort of like when for those dynamics in the music. Like one of the things you notice with a good amplifier, so if you got the 6000A, it's good, but once you start going up in volume, the difference between a really powerful amplifier and not so powerful, it widens, because a really powerful amplifier can kind of command those drivers. It's crazy. I'm just testing the 8300XP, which is a beast, 140 watts. I think it's like 50. This is like 75, and the other one, the one I'm testing now at the moment, is 140. And man, the drivers just move like that, but they move fast and they go back and they don't distort. It's just incredible. So I'm learning quite a lot with this journey, and one of the things I'm learning is that do not skimp on a good amplifier, and do not skimp on power if you can afford it, because those two things are really important to drive any speaker properly. The speaker is also important. The KEF LS50 Meta, I didn't like it. I don't think it sounds nowhere near as good as people tend to say it sounds. I'm not saying the speaker doesn't matter, I'm saying the speaker matters. But once you find the speaker that you like and happy with, focus on the amplifier, I would say. Like the amplifier, a good amplifier will make your speaker sound a lot better. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. So yeah, hopefully I've touched everything that I could touch. Really happy that I started this journey with the Audiolab. I will come up with reviews of the 8300XP, so stay tuned. But I guess, you know, step up is the 8300 XP, a step up further from the 8300A. Man, this 8300A is such a good clean device, you know, like they both are, but my heart is with the 8300A for sure, you know, like. So thank you so much. If you have any questions, just ask in the comments. Thanks to my subscribers. If you like it, hit like. It helps the algorithm understand that this is a good video. And thank you very much. See you next time.